Okay, let's unpack this. We've got this great message from Pastor Matt Erdos at LWCC, and you shared some really detailed notes with us.
We did. The title is Make Room, A Heart That Welcomes the King.
And honestly, as we're heading into this part of the year, I don't think there's a more relevant topic. So we've got a really powerful deep dive ahead, all centered on how these, ancient biblical truths just collide with the crazy pace of modern life.
That's the mission right there. We're using the Christmas season, which for so many of us is just defined by stress and schedules, as this perfect lens to look at our spiritual priorities.
The core of it seems to be this verse from Isaiah chapter 40.
Exactly. The prophet's call. Prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight in the deserts a highway for our God.
And to help us figure out what making straight actually looks like today, Pastor Erdos uses Jesus' parable of the wedding banquet. That's from Matthew 22. It's a really interesting combination.
It really is. And the central problem he identifies is something I think everyone feels. He says, Christmas has a heart problem.
The heart prop.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel like it used to. And the reason is we've let all this other stuff, all this cultural demand, completely wedge Jesus out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the cultural noise is deafening. He mentions the usual stuff, the Grinch, all the Santa movies.
Even Krampus, which is a whole other thing.
Right. But what really hit me was the point about commercial pressure.
Black Friday.
Black Friday starting on, November 14th? Before you've even thought about Thanksgiving.
Exactly. The minute those sales start, the whole purpose of the season just shifts. It goes from being spiritual to being economic.
Yeah.
It's all about buying, stressing, spending.
And the debt. It just replaces the simple idea of the Savior's birth with these really complicated, expensive obligations.
And that anxiety is the point. The focus moves from the king to all the complications. We need a way to get some clarity back.
Absolutely. So we've broken this all down. We have three crucial, really actionable takeaways from the sermon, three shifts that can actually make a difference. Let's jump into the first one.
Okay, so the first takeaway is right there in the parables of wedding banquet. The king, he sends out his servants to invite the original guest list, the prestigious people.
And this is an incredible feast. The source says oxen and fattened calves were slaughtered. I mean, everything is right.
Everything. But the invited guests all refuse.
And they don't say, we hate the king. Their excuses are just normal. One goes to his farm, another to his business.
So what's fascinating is the rejection itself. The core issue isn't really hatred for the king. It's that they were just preoccupied. They were too busy.
Too busy with their own plans to accept the invitation.
Exactly. And this connects directly to that warning in Proverbs 4.23. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life.
So the sermon's argument is that the problem for most of us isn't a lack of desire for God. It's a lack of room.
Our hearts are just fundamentally overcrowded.
And Pastor Erdos gets really specific about what that stuff is for us today. It's the modern farm and business.
It's things like end-of-year tax prep, the pressure of assignments due, even just trying to get your vacation time approved at work.
Christmas pageants, obligations to family and friends.
And all the anxiety, worrying about the lights, the presents, how you're going to pay for it all.
Okay, but those are just life things, right? Taxes, deadlines. How do you practically draw a line there without, quitting your job?
That's the crucial distinction. The message is clear that the problem isn't the tax form itself. It's what that form represents.
What do you mean?
It's about the kingdom that obligation serves. When we make these daily pressures our highest priority, they become what the sermon calls invitations from the kings of this world.
The kings of this world. So you're talking about rival kingdoms.
Precisely. The kingdom of efficiency, the kingdom of social media comparison, the kingdom of financial anxiety. They're all demanding our time and our focus.
Or vigilance.
The same vigilance God is asking for. And if we don't guard our heart, it becomes an unguarded heart, and then an overcrowded heart. And an overcrowded heart just has no room left for Jesus.
So guarding your heart isn't just about avoiding bad things.
No, it's about ruthlessly protecting your priority list from all that noise. It's about intentionally making space.
That's the first step, making space.
Right.
So once the original guests reject the invitation, the story takes this really dramatic and frankly kind of jarring turn. The king is furious. He destroys their city.
Yeah, which can seem harsh to us now. Right. But in the context of the source, it's showing the ultimate consequence of totally rejecting the king's grace. It's saying their choice, their farm, their business has a destructive end.
But the deep dive doesn't really stay on that. It pivots immediately to mercy.
That's the critical shift. The king sends his servants right to back out. but not to find a better, more elite class of guests.
No, he sends them to the main roads, the highways, and this is where it gets revolutionary.
This is the heart of the message right here. The servants gather all whom they found, both bad and good, and the hall is filled.
So the new guests weren't the ones who thought they deserved it.
Not at all. They were the broken, the overlooked, the outsiders.
And that's the great contrast. The first group, the elite, they failed because they were full of pride and control. This second group, they came with humility, with need.
They knew they didn't deserve a royal feast, so when the invitation came, they made room immediately.
And that act of making room, that brings us right back to Mary.
The perfect example. While the others were making room for work and comfort and money, Mary made room for God's presence, His word, His will.
Her response to the angel is just. It's everything. She asks, how can this be?
That one question is a statement of complete surrender. She's admitting she can't do it, that her own plans are now totally irrelevant.
She isn't trying to control it or figure out the logistics. She's just making room for this divine interruption.
And that's the synthesis. The king invites, but only those who make room in their heart, who surrender control, get to experience the miracle.
It's not about your calendar, it's about your heart.
We have to stop thinking of Christmas as something we just squeeze in and start seeing it as a fundamental adjustment we need to make in our hearts. Are you available for the impossible?
That brings us to the last part of the parable, which is maybe the most challenging part.
It is.
The hall is packed now, bad and good, and the king comes in. He finds one man who isn't wearing a wedding garment. He questions him and then rejects him harshly.
And this is where we get confused because we read it with modern eyes. We assume the king is being cruel about a dress code or, the guest was poor and couldn't afford a suit.
We assume it's about earning your way in.
Right. But the source gives us this absolutely essential piece of cultural context.
Which is?
At a royal wedding back then, the king always provided the proper garments for every single guest.
Ah, so it wasn't about affording it.
Not at all. It didn't matter where you came from. The guest just had to accept the gift and put it on. It was a sign that you were accepting the king's new identity he was giving you.
Okay, so if the garment was provided for him, what does his failure to wear it actually mean? What was the real mistake?
It's the ultimate act of pride. He accepted the invitation to the party, but he rejected the king's provision of a new identity.
He wanted to come on his own terms.
Exactly. The garment represents the righteousness that Christ offers. You see it in Isaiah 61. Where it says, God has clothed me with the garments of salvation.
So this man showed up to the king's feast wearing his old self, dressed in the clothes of his old kingdom.
Whether that was self-righteousness, or an addiction, or bitterness, or just the belief that his old life was good enough on its own.
He's speechless when the king asks him about it because there's no excuse. He just chose not to exchange his self-made identity for the one the king provided.
And the distinction for us today is that you can't cherry pick. You can't make room for Jesus, but still hold on to the garments of your old life, the pride, the control.
It's a package deal.
The king is basically saying, I'll dress you in a new identity, but I won't force you to take off your old clothes.
So the deep dive question becomes, what old, ragged identity are you still clutching when the king has already provided the uniform for the kingdom?
A challenging thought.
Okay, so let's quickly summarize the 3 actionable takeaways from this.
Let's do it.
First, guard your heart. You have to actively resist the overcrowding from stress and all the calls from the world's kings. Make room.
Second, remember the invocation is for everyone. The king comes for the overlooked, the broken, the bad and good. It's about surrendering pride, not about being perfect.
And third, accept and wear the garment he provides. Let go of your old identity, your pride, your self-righteousness, and put on the new one Christ offers.
And that brings us full circle right back to Isaiah 40. Prepare the way of the Lord. The most radical countercultural thing you can do this season isn't about managing your calendar better.
It's about making room in your heart.
Exactly.
So here's the final provocative thought we want to leave you with. Mary asked, how can this be? She was surrendering, asking God to do the impossible.
The original guests, on the other hand, they chose their own paths. Their farm, their business, that implied total control.
So this Christmas, what's your heart's posture? Are you asking how surrendering the parts of your life you can't manage?
Or are you still trying to control the outcome? Still wearing that old self-made garment you refuse to take off?
A vital question to consider. The invitation is waiting.
It is.
We'll leave you with that. Keep digging, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.